everybody. Welcome to Talking Horses on a beautiful Sunday here at Aqueduct. 10 race card, 10 race today, 10 race tomorrow. More on that in just a moment. Head on over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better way to play the races on a daily basis. We'll match up $200. Big A is the promo code. Big A's not here, though. David Aragona, Daily Racing Forum, joining us in just a moment. That's at Naira Bets. For a special promo in race 2, I will be looking at Del Mar in the second race because it says through the app, if you bet $25 win in race 2 and you lose, you get it back. Okay, I'm in. Risk-free. That sounds risk-free to me. I'm in. Free $25 bet. Second race at Del Mar. Get your PPs for Del Mar out. Also, remind people we will be racing tomorrow. Racing on Veterans Day. Haven't raced on Veterans Day for quite a few years, but we will be racing on a good holiday. Justin, that's like a segue to get that slate up there. There we go. Oh, Justin's not in his game today. I know he's claiming he is, but I don't know. I'm going to withhold judgment. Veterans Day is tomorrow. Gates will open at 11. 12 o'clock first post. 10 race card today, 10 tomorrow. Big fields, good stuff going on. David Aragona, Daily Racing Forum is here. And David, we saw yesterday that you can get a lot of opportunities in the races we've had here. We had crazy prices here. You can leave this up, or you can leave this up the whole show if you want, Justin. But we've had a lot of crazy prices the last couple of days.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you've been right, you've gotten paid for those opinions because there have been competitive races for sure. I mean, going in, you knew these races could generate some prices, and they've really played out that way. There were some vulnerable favorites. They didn't run, and we saw some big win prices, big exacta trifecta prices, some huge payouts in the multi-race bets. So it's been great racing and fun to watch.
Right. Feels like Saratoga at Aqueduct. Yeah. I mean, the racing has been as good here. The racing has been as good here during the meet as I've ever seen it. And I would say we've already had cards that are better than any card we've run at Belmont Park the entire week.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
This whole week has been sensational. Let's get to work at today's card. You've got a horse in complex system, the 9. I'm going to guess is going to be a real favorite here. Now, I don't know that this horse can run, but I'm assuming he can. You were just talking to me. We'll show the workout from Ocala. And as you said to me, David, this was the fastest workout of either sale for a quarter mile. This was some work.
Yeah, I remember when these sales happened back in March and April. I went back and looked at the results and who was the fastest worker, what they sell for, and this horse just sort of jumped off the page. 20-1. No horse went faster at the March sale. This was the fastest of the April sale. Not a ton of pedigree, to say the least, on this horse, but looked great doing it. Don't know how he's been working since then because he's been secluded at Monmouth for most of his training regimen coming up to this race, but I'm assuming this horse can run a little bit. And also, I didn't send in the stat because he's going to be a short price, but Chaperon actually has pretty good numbers with first-time starters in these turf sprints between 5 and 6 furlongs. He's 7 for 26 with a positive ROI, so I'm not going to be surprised if this horse has real ability.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Amira's Prince, who's staying for $2,500, I'm sure some remember the Bill Mott trained Amira's Prince. I don't know that he's going to have too many foals that sell in an auction for $200,000 or more dollars, but that was some workout. You've got a little bit of interest in the number 1, Degas.
Yeah, I was just looking through this race for some sprint form because a lot of horses are either coming from dirt races or turning back in distance, and at least this horse ran well going the sprint distance in his debut at Laurel. The horse that won that race, Golden Gary, actually looks like a talented turf horse. For whatever reason, his connections decided to enter him for dirt in his next 2 starts. We don't really know what he can do on the turf after that, but that seemed like a really fast maiden race at Laurel, and he closed well to be second in that spot. Just didn't get the distance in his next 2 starts, didn't really finish those races off. Now they're turning back to a sprint. He's got a sprint pedigree, so I thought maybe he was a little interesting underneath.
And he draws a good post in the rail. It's very interesting. Thursday's turf races were dominated by horses that stayed on the rail for the majority of the race on both courses. Friday we ran 3 turf races, 2 and 1, and they seem to be very fair. Yesterday, I mean, I'm not big on bias on turf. You don't see them a lot. Yesterday was incredible. If you weren't down in the inside couple of paths, you had a lot of trouble moving. And we saw a few horses that moved outside and tried to make runs, and their runs got completely muted when they got in the middle of the racetrack. Now, listen, maybe it'll change today. I don't know. I don't know how that happens. But boy, it was I mean, I understand when rail's coming down, but that was weird. One day on, one day off, one day on. It's very strange.
It always helps to save ground on the turf, but some of the margins were exaggerated, especially in that race where the Christophe Clement Firster won. The 2 horses that rode the rail just obliterated the rest of the field, and you often see that in situations where there's track bias.
We both agree that Seducer the second for Christophe Clement, his second Seducer in 20 years, looks like a stake winner like the other one. Speaking of Christophe Clement, I had the number 5 in here, Hard to Be Humble. It's kind of more dirt than turf. I don't know. I just threw this one in here.
Yeah,
I didn't really have a strong
at least
trade
there's sprint
opinion.
pedigree on the dam side.
Yeah.
The horse that I was kind of against here that's going to take money is U.S. Army Corps.
I agree.
This horse has a pedigree that says it wants to run all day. The dam is a half-sister to High Chaparral, so I don't really know why they're turning this horse back. SHUG does not have good numbers doing this. I was kind of against this one.
I think SHUG is turning this horse back out of frustration.
Yeah.
And this is a horse they must have liked. And I'll be honest with you, I did not like this horse's first race at all. I don't like that Our Country
Took a lot
race.
of money last
Made
time.
the mistake of taking Our Country in the Breeders' Cup Turf, and he did no running in there. We saw a policy option run poorly in the subsequent start. I just don't know if this horse is that good.
I agree.
And he doesn't have the speed, so I don't know where he's going to be positioned in the running of this race. Race number 2. You know, it's another situation where you've got a Chad Brown horse, and more likely than not, that's going to take a lot of money. And I'm not saying she can't win, because obviously she can win. But she's not very good, and she finishes behind August Moon in this race, and August Moon is supposed to be more forward than her again today. I will say one thing about More Likely Not's last race. That was a race where the speed scratched the gate. And it allowed a very, very slow pace, which gave her no chance. I think the pace will be a little bit better in this race, but still, I think she's just not that good.
I mean, I don't even like this race we're watching because she was the one that had that unencumbered outside run into the stretch. She had the race there for the taking, whereas Tass, who was the horse that came back and beat her next time, was sort of buried inside that day. And more likely than not, just couldn't get past those horses, and that's been her problem. She just doesn't pass horses late, and this stat for Chad Brown just says these horses tend to get overbet a little bit.
The win percentage of 26 is very high.
Yeah, so to me, she's just had her chances. She is what she is, and I think the horse that beat her two back is just better than her, August Moon.
I completely agree with you. And to also note, the win by More Likely Than Not, just look at the pace.
Yeah.
I mean, they went 23:46 in a mile and a 16th race. The course was listed good. I don't think it was good. But regardless, 23:46, we don't see those paces in two-turn turf races at Saratoga. I agree with you. I think that August Moon is the horse to beat in here. Hit a provisional. We both have fourth. Yes, she would be tough if she ran her race two back. But she was abysmal last time. And then she's dropping in for a tag as a non-winner's a 1. She's a 4-year-old at the end of the year. I understand why they're dropping, but they're dropping because there's an issue, and it's tough to keep her on the track.
Yeah.
I don't trust. She could win. She's not winning on yesterday's track, and I just don't trust her.
I wanted to make a case for her. I liked her a bit last time. That race bothers me a lot because she just had nothing from the quarter pole home.
So you have no love at all for my horse, Pecatonica, who I think is going to be forwardly placed, by the way, with Junior. She broke a step slow and then just got completely and totally obliterated after that at the start and lost all chance whatsoever in there. I know it wasn't that good a field, but though Mike's girl, that was one of the greatest They Knews in the history of They Knew.
Yeah, she got bet and she ran.
Well, she looked like a horse they wanted a mile and 16. I know she's not that good. I don't think her race two back is terrible because she was chasing Cirque in there. She can be forward. And I started looking through this race, and I basically said there's only 4 horses that I could use here. Now, you obviously like the 2, and I'll let you talk about her in a second. The 1, 5, 7, and 9. She's going to be the biggest price. I'll make an excuse. And I thought maybe a race two back suggested that she's actually improving off those slower races. She is lightly raced. She had no chance last time. And I thought, you know what? Today's the day to take a shot with her at a price if, in fact, I'm right that she's improving.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do with her. When I saw that you picked her, I was kind of laughing because I considered her and then I sort of dismissed her because I wasn't sure how good she was. Her race two back is the one that makes her competitive here. I'm not sure what to make of that race, though. It got an oddly high speed figure, and I'm not sure we've seen horses necessarily come back and duplicate those efforts yet.
Excuse me? You don't think Cirque more than duplicated that effort the next time out?
Oh, she's running Monday. Yeah, she did run well.
I mean, she got a 71 buyer, and from a pace figure perspective, she probably ran a better race.
No, that's true. I forgot about that.
The horse who survived a meltdown?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of her. I'm just not sure if she's good enough.
I'm absolutely not sure, but, you know, you've got Star Swept second. I'm not sure how good she is, period.
Yeah, she was obviously way back in that Augusta Moon More Likely Than Not race last time, but I will say there wasn't a ton of running happening from the back of the pack in that spot, and she sort of had to alter course at a critical point at the 3/16 pole, like just lost momentum behind a tiring horse. Not that she was ever going to hit the board that day, but she may have lost about 2 lengths of position, and she did run that competitive speed figure 2 back at Gulfstream. Obviously, she was first off the layoff last time, so if she can take a step forward, I think she's one of the lightly raced horses in this field that could improve her speed figures, because she's going to have to. She's kind of in the same boat as Pecatonica.
Yeah, I mean, she's my proverbial 5th choice in this race. I'm not sure I trust that race at Gulfstream. That was my problem with her.
Yeah.
But she did ride well towards the inside. Race number 3. We'll see. Can Spice Road finally get it done? This is Spice Road's last race, and I will say at her last race, she was absolutely compromised by chasing outside against a very strong rail. We saw the horse who won the race come back and win, got a perfect trip to win, but won nonetheless and ran fine. And it's not as though Spice Rose never finished first, though she finished first by fouling her opponent repeatedly in the stretch, which sometimes helps your chances. She's probably going to win today. I don't know. I wanted a different face.
Yeah,
I think there's an interesting one in here.
I just went to the favorite in this spot. I agree about the interesting horse, but I do think Spice Road is very likely to break the maiden today because he's been running fast enough to break through at this level and just has happened to run into some really good horses. I mean, Bourbonon last time, as you mentioned, Scars Are Cool two-back. That was a really strong maiden race at Saratoga. So I just feel like this might be Spice Road's day to break through. And also, isn't he just completely loose in this race?
Yes, he's certainly supposed to be loose, depending if others show speed. But yes, I agree. He's supposed to run a race. I'm not against him. I just want to play another horse. Now, Scars Are Cool, they try the turf with him. I know he has a turf pedigree, but if you run a horse in the Travers off a maiden win, why would you immediately go to the turf when he doesn't run well in the Travers? Like, well, he can't win the Travers, then we're going to run him on the turf. I mean, I was surprised.
And why does he have to be a grade stakes horse immediately? I mean, there are nominations of one races out there, aren't there?
Right, and those are the methods that seem to work over time. As far as Road Home, the Mott horse, that race, I know you're going to look and say, oh, you're taking a horse that lost to Chancelot. Well, as David well knows, it's not just the horse who lost to Chancelot, who ran 100 by her the next time out. It's the second horse came back and ran second in the Florida Derby. I know he had a good trip, but he still ran second in the Florida Derby off a maiden second. The third horse, Fort Worth for Pletcher, we haven't seen since he ran 11 points faster, breaking his maiden at Aqueduct in the middle of April. The fourth horse improved 11 Beyer points. The sixth horse improved 22 Beyer points. I don't think the seventh horse has run back, and I know Road Home hasn't run back, but that has proven to be an extremely strong race that he's coming out of. And I know he's coming back and he's facing a legitimate horse. I wonder, you've got him third choice. I guess Kid Bourbon probably will be the second choice. And, you know, that figure for Kid Bourbon is a funny one because I think we believe that Free Enterprise is capable of running a big figure. And, Mark, you pointed this out. The first route, they don't have great numbers. He doesn't have great numbers stretching out. Sam Sound came back to win and ran an 81 Beyer and went down 14 points. I don't think that figure was 14 points high, but I want to see it confirmed as a 101. We'll see what Free Enterprise does in his next start because he might really be a stakes horse. I don't know. I'm not sold on this horse. I think this horse is a bad second choice, and I think either the 1 or 7 is going to win this race.
Yeah, the figure for Free Enterprise's last race, I agree, is dubious. Also, Free Enterprise's figure 2-back, that Air Touch race, that figure's a little sketchy too because some horses have come back and not run back to their numbers that have finished third and worse in that race. So we'll see. Free Enterprise is a good horse, but how good I think still remains to be seen. And Kid Bourbon, I mean, why is he supposed to get better stretching out? I'm not really sure about that. He's run okay sprinting in his first 2 starts. I agree about Road Home. It concerned me a little bit that he just has no early speed, but he is one that can take a step forward because those are basically 2-year-old figures, and you mentioned the runbacks from the Chancelot race.
Yeah, so I'm going to take a small shot, but I'm not arguing that Spice Road is much the horse to beat in this race. Race number 4, I laughed that you and I landed on the same horse in this race because this is a very, very tricky race. And the horse that you and I both have second, Canada Desire, you've got him 6-1 morning line. I'd like to bet you a few lunches on that he won't be 6-1.
What's it going to be?
Because isn't he the outside closer in a race packed with speed? Oh, wait. Interrupt our conversation to go to a replay here that does involve Canada Desire with Mo Diddley wiring the field. And I think the point here is the Canada Desire, but also O'Shea Can You See, we're both trying to close into a race on a track that was favoring inside speed runners and was dominated on the front end.
I mean, in this race, O'Shea Can You See was a shorter price than Canada Desire. So,
but I don't think it's going to happen again.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen again.
Everybody likes Canada Desire. That's
really okay. Yeah. No, I think they're both contenders. I'm mostly taking O'Shea Can You See because, frankly, I thought he was doing more running in that race at the end because he was so far back at the top of the stretch, and he's going to be a bigger price today. So
I agree. Here's my problem. He also was on the rail. Now, I picked him. He was on the rail, and Canada Desire was 3 wide. So Canada Desire was giving up a little bit to him, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I still think he'll be a better price today, and I think the race could fall apart for him.
And O'Shea Can You See, he's in better form than it seems since the claim by Linda Rice, because he was even compromised too back in that 5-star bunt race where nobody could close. He was coming at the end of that race too. The 6.5 furlongs, I think, is going to help him a lot. So I think they're both contenders. I just think O'Shea Can You See is more value. Which half of the entry did you prefer, Mo Diddley or Play That Funny Music? Because I think they're both interesting. You don't care?
Honestly, in general, I sort of turn to turn back, so I probably like play that funny music, cutting back in distance. I don't like Mo Diddley.
Yeah.
If Mo Diddley wins this race, I have to lose. I mean, Jewel Condisco, what if Jewel Condisco doesn't break? If Jewel Condisco doesn't get left, he's going to be in front in this race. I understand the pace projector doesn't have him, but he keeps getting left. If he breaks, he'll be in front.
They bet Jewel Condisco last time like he was supposed to win. If you remember that, he was like around favoritism for all of the wagering and then drifted up to 5-1. He didn't break and then had no chance after that.
There were stories about him.
Yeah.
I want to say that he had bled in his previous races. There was a story about him. There was a big tip story on him last time, why everybody liked him.
But there's other speed in this race, so I think he's going to have a tough time of it.
He better break, number one. I mean, I could throw him in for $1,000,000 to 1, but I just think with Sudden Surprise in here and Jewel Condisco and Mo Diddley, and the truth is, I don't love any of them anyway.
No.
So it's not like Sudden Surprise's recent form has been that good. I don't really trust him at all. I know he's dropping, but he's an ex-Ruy Rodriguez horse whose form looks like it may be going south. His
last race was bad, and to be frank, this barn's been a little bit cold lately, so I'm concerned about that.
I got a winner with him the other day.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That horse in the second race. What was that?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot.
Liam's
yeah,
Liam horse.
Yeah, that's right. Liam, let's go. But the point of this race is you've got an entry. They're both contenders, and typically in those situations, those entities are overbet. So just look for some value elsewhere.
No, they are. You're obviously right about that. And we like the closers, and we went in the same direction in race number 4. Race number 5 is another war on today's card, and another race that, in theory, is going to have some pace. Now, we'll see how it plays out. We'll look at a video with Crackshot and 3 Outlaws in here, the horse that we both picked on top. Crackshot was the speed in here, and the pace got hot, and it fell apart. I don't think that the Crackshot ran that badly. I bet 3 Outlaws in this race. I thought that he ran fine in here, picking up the piece at the end. The winner ran well, beat him. I just think that this is another one where he's going to get the pace 3 Outlaws, and last time out, he was wide in a 7-furlong race where he had just no chance in there, and now the race just sets up much better for him.
Yeah, there was a surprising pace presence in that race that Crackshot ran last time that we're showing, where he just got company on the front end and couldn't quite see it out late. But he might have company here, too, because there's other speed in this race. L&Z, I mean, he's got to go.
I think Joel's going to try to wire the field. I think
he's
Joel's
got
going to send L&Z.
I mean, L&Z can't stalk and win.
Right.
And you've got Cool Boy on the outside. He's just kind of a runoff type. So, I mean, they've got Joe Martinez is on him. He's been aggressive with a lot of his mounts.
Is he really as fast as L&Z and Crackshot
we'll see.
on the turf? I'm a little...
Maybe not.
I know
but
the pace projector thinks he is.
He'll be pressing. Yeah, he's coming out of dirt races. That can be deceptive sometimes. But I do think from the inside, Crackshot's got to go. So it could heat up front. And also, Crackshot won that 5.5 furlong race at Saratoga 2 back. I'm just not sure that 6 furlongs might not be a little bit too far for him.
I think that's a reasonable question. I think he can win. You've got him second. I've got him third. I mean, we're on the same page here. I think the horse that's going to get forgotten about here, and I almost picked on top, and obviously you saw the race similar to me. And I'm also a little scared, by the way, of either L&Z and Crackshot. I'm not leaving these 2 horses out because either one of these horses could theoretically wire the field. And if they're allowed to go, they're going to be very tough in the front, even L&Z, who never wins.
Yes.
Preferred Outcome is the interesting horse because if you think the race is going to come apart, he fits because he's also not that slow. He's a lot faster than 3 Outlaws, so he's not going to be as compromised if it doesn't heat up that much, and he doesn't want any part of 7 furlongs. He got a great ride by Jose Lescano last time. He moved him out. I remember I bet a few dollars on him just because I thought, why is he this big a price? He's as good, if not better, than most of these. And he got there, and he was in front. He just can't finish going 7 furlongs, but 6 furlongs is perfect for him, I think. 5.5 is probably perfect, but 6
his
is fun.
success on the turf came in those 5.5 furlong races at Saratoga, and I do think the turnback is going to help him quite a bit. He's interesting to me because he can stalk and win. He's going to get the right trip in this race. And
he's going to be a price.
Yeah, he's going to be a price. I like 3 Outlaws for all the reasons that you stated. I agree about the trip last time. It just was not ideal, and he projects to get a better trip here.
Do you have Market Bubble in there at all, the 9?
I had him third or fourth.
I think I had him 3rd or 4th, too. I thought he was a little interesting. I mean, it's just funny because we thought he was a router when he broke his maiden going long, and it turns out maybe he's just
maybe
he fooled everybody, and maybe Jorge Eduardo as well was fooled, and it's like, finally, why don't we just run him back the distance he won at? Now, maybe he's just not that good
He might not be.
But anyhow, race number 6, I've been looking forward to talking about this. I called you about it the other day because I wanted to see if, do you think I'm completely crazy here, or you saw my logic?
I mean, I picked kind of a crazy horse, too. So.
Right. Well, your horse doesn't have works.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with this horse, Mayaweya. Mayaweya just seems like the horse to beat. We've both got the horse second. She's fine. She lost in this race to Critical Value, came back and won the May of the Mist. There's nothing wrong with her. She's the horse to beat. I'm not against her, but I also don't feel like she's some sort of superstar.
No, when I went back and watched this race, though, she ran better than I remembered because she went after the speed early, and it did kind of fall apart at the end. And I mean, Saratoga Beauty, who she puts away, does come back and win, albeit against a pretty weak field.
Yeah.
But she ran okay in this race because I remember I didn't like her a lot in this spot, and she actually did step up for Todd Pletcher's second time out. She's been off for a little while, but I just think she's the horse to beat.
When Mike Dubb says to Todd Pletcher, "I want you to take a horse for me," and Todd goes, "Oh, okay. Well, who had the horse before me?" And he says, "Jason Service." Did Todd go, "Really, really, Mike? Do I really need to take a horse from Jason Service?" Because I mean, did that horse run at all the other day? That I don't even remember, the 13 horse, the speed, McGarren.
Oh, McGarren. No, that wasn't Mike Dubb, but that was Jason
somebody else,
Service
that was Service to Pletcher.
Yeah, I don't think that horse ran well.
It's an unenviable position for trainers to be in, and it's just funny when you think of a trainer, and it could happen to an upper echelon taking trainers from other guys. It's like tough guy to get a horse from, and I don't know if Prince Corey's really any good.
He did win with that Mike Dubb horse at Saratoga, first-time starter, I believe.
But it wasn't from Jason Service.
Yeah, it wasn't from Jason Service.
The horse came up the race.
I did find a very specific stat for Todd Pletcher. I didn't send it in because it was such a small sample, but 2-year-olds, first off a trainer switch, Dirt Maidens, he's 3 out of 5, 60% with a 375 ROI.
Who were the trainers those previous? Any of them Jason Service? Or?
They probably were not Jason Service. I will say my Italian Rabbit came back and ran much better in subsequent starts. I'm not sure how strong that race was overall, but this horse was well meant that day. She's got to run faster, obviously.
Well, it was a 2-to-1 first-time starter Jason Service.
Yeah.
How well meant, I don't know, but I agree with you. Talk about the 10 New York Supreme.
I just had little issues with all of the horses that had run, and I was looking for somebody else.
Including Silver Bank, by the way, who can win. Let me just say quickly.
And I
just sucked up the rail.
Yes, and I think I sent in a stat for Mike Stidham as well that's not favorable to Silver Bank.
But if you don't mind.
Yeah, and I agree. She ran fine in her debut. Didn't really have a trip. Just got kind of sucked along for third.
She can win. But
she can win.
She's not thrilling.
Yeah. New York Supreme is one of the interesting first-time starters in this race. I know Gary Contessa's been in kind of a slump, but he did get that long shot winner last week, and I know he's got poor stats with firsters as well, but he can win every once in a while with a first-time starter. This one's got some workouts that just jump off the page, and I don't know if you went back and watched this workout from the OBS sale. I mean, the horse only sold for $40,000, but I was really impressed by this workout. She did it very nicely, was not under some like whipping and driving.
She didn't look like she was going fast.
No, she looked like she was going a slower time, and she went 21-1, had a really nice stride on her. It doesn't bother me that she sold for $40,000 because this is sort of before Constitution's breakout season, and since then he's proven to be a really nice sire.
I bet you they've already turned down more money for this horse.
No,
I honestly do.
Probably.
The way Constitutions have run, and with the workouts of this horse, I agree.
And she's got a winnerly pedigree on the dam side because she's a half to She Takes Charge, who won first time out, as well as Fled. Yeah, who ended up being a turf horse, but also did well. I think was second in his debut. So this one might have.
Javier's riding. He doesn't ride for Gary Contessa too often. I agree. I gave that horse a long look. My question is, if that horse is live, do you really think that horse is going to be 6-to-1?
Well, there are a lot of ways to go in this race.
I agree. Now, I may have made like the worst of my idiotic picks. I am fully aware that I've picked a horse from connection I've never heard of, and I'm not familiar at all with the rider. I believe it is Virginia. It is Virginia Torbay. Mm-hmm. I will say, look up, first of all, the numbers for this trainer. This trainer's record overall, last 5 years, it's got a $1.99 ROI. I know they were at Mountaineers World. This is a trainer that's winning at 19%, and their horses are paying. This guy knows what he's doing. So right away you've got a trainer that's not an idiot. He's got a New York bred, so he's coming to New York with it. First-time starters, what is the number? It's 14 for 60 with a 424 ROI with first-time starters. I've got like weird numbers written down.
No, first-time starters is
5 for 17 with an 888 ROI.
I believe there was a 74-to-1 winner in that sample, but none of them were super short prices.
5 for 17 is still 30%.
Yes.
And one of the winners was with this rider. And the pedigree is funny. This horse probably is going to have 2 heads or something because there's real pedigree. The first 2 foals were very good from the dam. The last 3 weren't particularly good. But you've got a Carpe Diem, $8,000. Maybe the horse is completely crooked or something. And I know they're coming as a New York bred, but still.
But, I mean, where is this horse based? I mean, where would they be running otherwise? I'm not even sure. One of the Mid-Atlantic or one of the Midwest tracks.
You could find a maiden race to run an $8,000
Some of the open
purchase.
maiden races at the local circuit might be easier than this New York bred spot. So it's not like they're coming to find a softer spot.
Right, and it's an $8,000 purchase. They could run the race in a 20 maiden claimer, 15 maiden claimer, get the purse and get out, and probably not get claimed anyway.
Yeah.
They are coming here. Maybe they're getting stars in their eyes like a lot of us have, and you get your head handed to you. That's the way it works in this game most of the time. I couldn't let this horse go by without picking. It may be a horrible pick, but it's kind of an interesting pick, I thought. in what's actually, I'll give you another horse that I thought was interesting. I know you gave a long look to Casilda 40 Tails, the 2.
Yeah,
because
I didn't
the race
see it,
looked
but...
slow. Well, third horse came back and improved 18 buyer points. The sixth horse improved 16 buyer points. I'm not sure that race is a little bit better. It's,
Could be.
Switches. It's a private purchase, as far as I can tell, unless it was a stable name situation. I think it's a private purchase, and to Bob Glaceris. I think this horse is a little interesting in here too.
This is that owner of Snake Oil Charlie, I think. Right? Same silks. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe this race.
I thought it was a tough race for that horse.
Maybe Todd's horse with this finish will be
Yeah.
6-9, and we're just wasting our time trying to be clever. But I think there's more going on in this race.
Yeah.
So this was a fun
Yep.
race. We'll see what happens. Race 6, race 7, the return and battle of 2 highly regarded Chad Brown horses as 2-year-olds. It's amazing they show up in the same race. We'll start out with one of my favorite horses that I've been waiting to come back. It's Network Effect. And he's purportedly working well coming in this race, as is Aurelio Maximus, obviously. And this race, the Nashua, I mean, Vekoma, I regret Vekoma. Where is poor Vekoma? He was supposed to run in Dwyer. He was going to run in Saratoga. He's obviously got issues. He's obviously got a funny stride. He's a soup. I think Vekoma is one of the most talented 3-year-olds in the country. I really do. And Network Effect had a chance to be one of the most talented in the country, too. And he's just been laid up. I can't wait to see him back. I'm not saying he's going to win, but I'm not picking against this guy. I love this horse.
Yeah, I almost forgot how fast these horses were running at the end of last year. They were really good. They didn't have to step forward at all to be major contenders on the Derby trail. Vekoma obviously made it to the Derby. Network Effect did not. He's been off for a long time. He didn't train on as a 3-year-old, so they
he had issues.
He had issues.
He had an issue. No, it wasn't. I honestly, I don't know what the issue was, but I remember the conversation when I was on with Chad Brown on the phone with him, and I said, "How's Network doing?" And he said, I didn't like how he came out of his work today. I got to check him out. I remember he specifically said, "I just don't know what's wrong with him. There's something wrong with him." And so there was an issue.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of the fact that he's working up at Saratoga. He's working in company with horses at a variety of class levels. I haven't seen any of the workouts, so I don't really know.
I've heard about them.
Yeah, maybe he's coming back okay.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see a discrepancy in price between these two that you have, because Aurelio Maximus is reportedly working as well also.
He is working well.
Now, we'll take a look at him breaking his maiden 2-back, and he ran fine in the Champagne, but I will say he was picking up pieces, race falling apart. And I'm very curious what happens in this race, because I mean, I talk to Chad Brown a lot about his horses, and this is a horse that he has always been very high on. And I don't think he's done anything to suggest that he's wrong, but I'm not sure what he's done to suggest he's necessarily right about him. Because this wasn't a particularly fast race. It was a sloppy sealed track. His first race, he's not a 6 furlong horse. You can give him an excuse. And even Chad said after the race, he wants to go a mile. And he didn't run badly in the Champagne. But he was also picking up pieces, and the race was falling apart, but so did Code of Honor.
Yeah, I mean, he came into the Champagne, and you kind of had the sense that we haven't nearly seen the best of what this horse has to offer yet because of all the reasons that you just mentioned. And he ran pretty well in the Champagne. That was a strong race. I know Complexity sort of hasn't done anything since then, but he's had issues.
He didn't even pick up Call Paul at the end.
No, but he was coming from way back, and the only other horse that made up ground in that race was Code of Honor.
Who stumbled at the start.
Who stumbled at the start.
He's Code of Honor, but, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he can't win. I would use both of them.
No, the difference between him and Network Effect is that Network Effect doesn't have to improve at all to beat this race, just has to get back to his prior form, and the rest are going to be in trouble. Aurelius Maximus does have to improve a little bit, but he does have a lot of upside.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to both of these horses coming back. It's funny they come back in the first. It's not a bad field. I mean, I know Love Jason got a perfect trip last time. He saved ground a good rail and he angled out. But you can't argue that he hasn't been running well, and he's. By the way, this is turning out to be one of the claims of the year. And speaking of they knew in Saratoga this horse was going to run, and Linda knew to claim this horse, and what a claim this has been.
One of the most improved horses that I could think of in this entire year. He just wanted to go long on dirt all the time, apparently, and he just really turned his form around.
And you mentioned Air Touch is coming back, and, you know, that's a figure last time out that originally was much lower. And I remember I called Andy about it. We were talking about Andy Beyer and saying it's too low because Honest Mischief is a good horse. He stunk in that race. I mean, he was a second in a blanket photo, a desperate second, and he didn't run anywhere near as well. Now, maybe he regressed second off a long, long layoff, and he can come back and run a big fig, because he did run a big fig as a 2-year-old, chasing off of a good rail.
I know people are going to see that he's a Tappet. The damn side, it's not really route pedigrees. I have to Sweet Loretta, who I think was the Spinaway winner, as well as...
She won the dead heat?
The dead heat with that Cassie horse. And Bridlewood Cat, who just won for Jonathan Thomas the other day, going 6 furlongs. So I'm not sure this is really around pedigree. And Air Touch, to me, I mean, I mentioned that Fig 2 back that I was a little iffy on, and last time he was just bad.
Is Johnny going to send, or is Giodoro going to get loose? Giodoro ran well last time.
I think Giodoro is dangerous in this race. I know he's not quite as fast as some others, but he's got that speed. I think the mile is the perfect distance for him. He's going to be a bit of a price in here because there's so much. There are interesting things about the other horses, but he'll be there at the end.
I completely agree with you. Now, race number 8, I'm going to tell you, your horse was helped by the scratch, by the way, in race number 8. I would have picked Carrera Cat on top had I known Filibustin was not going to run in here. I have no confidence. Oh, wait, Newly Minted is now scratched?
Oh, I didn't see that either.
I end up with Bluegrass Jamboree on top. That's quite a top pick, but we'll get to that in a second. Okay, let's scratch the video, if you don't mind, Justin, and let's show Carrera Cat, who's now going to be the controlling speed, and this is her winning the Union Avenue. She's just the horse to beat. Isn't she going to be favored now?
I think Fair Regis will be favored.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though Carrera Cat easily beat her in this race?
Well, I mean, Fair Regis easily beat her last time.
There's a difference, though. She's going to be controlling again today.
She will. Carrera Cat, her speed obviously is very dangerous now with Filibustin coming out, and she can get the 7 furlongs. She proved that at Aqueduct last year, so I'm not really concerned about the distance with her. Last time out, I know that she finished way behind Fair Regis. It looked like they got intimidated by the fact that there was a lot of speed in that Iroquois, and you could just see Rajiv came out with no intention to go to the front, and they just decided to rate this horse, and they let Pause for the Cause get away on the front end. And it just seemed like Carrera Cat got discouraged that day. I'm not going to hold the Come Dancing loss against her. I feel like she's in better form than it might seem, and to me, she's just the horse to beat now.
I would absolutely have had her on top if I knew these horses were scratched in here. I would have saved a lot of time. Handicapping a race took a long, long time. Yeah. I'm not sure what to do with Fair Regis. I know she ran well last time, and she's improving. I'm still not sold on her. She's still Fair Regis.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that she really gets better going 7 furlongs either. She kind of got Legray going the 7 first time out for Jason Service back in July at Saratoga.
Unfortunately for me.
And she has just taken a slight step forward with each start for this new barn. She ran well last time. She'll be tough if she runs that race back here. I just prefer Carrera Cat given the pace advantage.
I could not agree more. Our Supernova is obviously going to take a lot of money, and listen, she runs back to her last race. She's going to be very tough. I don't know where the heck it came from.
You know, it was curious to me that they were so focused on sprinting her when she first got into Charlton Baker's barn, because for the prior trainer, she was really better going the longer distances, and maybe she just improved going the mile last time. I know she got a good trip being on the rail, and the rail definitely wasn't a bad place to be on the Empire Showcase.
No, but it wasn't a big. The rail was good, but it wasn't a huge advantage.
I agree with that. Some people were saying the rail was a big advantage that day.
No, it definitely was not.
I didn't think it was.
Definitely was.
She just got a good pace situation to run at. She's not going to get that here. I'm not sure turning back to 7 furlongs really helps her. She's in great form right now. I just preferred others.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think I'll tell you a horse who can win. Linda Scratch, Newly Minted. Maybe My Roxy Girl is a new horse, and she has a chance. This is a tough spot. Okay, Bluegrass Jamboree, who I don't love as my top pick here. I don't mind because she's a big price. You know, she's got that big race at Aqueduct off a 2-month layoff. Then she caught sloppy track, and then she's at Belmont, and she did run better when she got a dry track. Now they've given her a 3.5-month freshening. And I'm wondering if this is a horse that might run a big race fresh. I wanted to have her as like my second pick. I would have made the picks 8-7 had I known these scratches. That's a fact. If she wins, she would win as my second choice in here. I would make the race 8-7. I was looking in this race for somebody at a price that I thought I could make a little case for, because I don't trust Fair Regis at 7 furlongs. I don't want Our Supernova after the cat's out of the bag with her. I do think Carrera Cat's the horse to beat. Nobody else particularly scares me in this race. And she's got figs that are okay. I don't know where that 95 buyer came from, but it was off a layoff. It was a gold rail, but she wasn't. Oh, she was. She was inside, and then she angled out. Right. Still, it wasn't like a total gold rail performance, and it was a 95 buyer. I'm going to give her a chance off a layoff that maybe she's a horse that runs well fresh. It's a bit of a shot.
I gave her a look. She'll be a price in here. I really worry about the 7 furlongs with her, because even when she goes 6.5, she's one of these horses you just have to kind of hold together at the end of a race because she just wants to fall apart late. But she's got the right rider on to get the distance, because he tends to get these horses to shut down early and finish. So we'll see. I'll use her somewhere.
He had some day yesterday, Joel.
He did.
Race number 9, the Stewart Manor, like yesterday's race, this came up in absolute war. Now, this race changed, though, when the scratch of time limit. And while perhaps the one masked Doiseau has some speed, Lucrezia off this win. And I'm going to tell you something. If Lucrezia clears the lead and runs a race like she ran here, she's going to win. Period.
Probably.
I mean,
yeah.
No, that's fair, because your horse is good.
Yeah.
I'm not.
This race got a very big fig. It got a huge time form US fig as well. We'll see. I don't know if this race is as strong as the figures make it seem. We'll find out, because the runner-up also improved a lot.
She improved, but it was her fourth start. She could be improving.
It's a Wesley Ward horse who was well meant first time out. We'll see.
She didn't run badly in her first start, and that was a good race.
If it's high, it's maybe 5
in fact,
points.
That race will come up, because we're going to take a look at that entire race,
But
actually sequence debut.
I agree. Lucrezia ran really well that day, but she did get a pretty easy lead. I know she was going a legitimate pace, but she's going to have pressure, as you said, even with the scratch of time limit from the rail. And from the 11, that Brad Cox horse, Byerly Scene, she's pretty fast, too.
I agree.
So it's not like Lucrezia is getting some easy lead here.
I don't disagree. I'm going to use her. She doesn't have to win. That was a good race. I remember when Keeneland didn't run maiden turf races. Now they're running maiden turf sprints. I also remember when Keeneland didn't take races off the turf. It was a monsoon out, but those were the good old days. Miss J. McKay, this win last time. You picked her on top. I've got her second or third. She was good.
I think this horse is the real deal. This win last time was really good. She actually kind of caused her own problems, too, back when she got disqualified. She just sort of ducked in when they got into the stretch. She sort of kept turning when they got to the straightaway. She did it a little bit last time, but she was much more professional in this race that we're watching. And it's not like there was nobody behind her in this spot. She just ran away from them. The third place finisher came back and validated the speed figure. This horse is really good, and she doesn't need the lead. She can sit a few lengths off the pace. I think she's going to get a pretty good trip. Trevor McCarthy just has to save some ground from the outside post. That's the one thing, but I think she's okay.
I could not agree more. She is very talented, and you'd be crazy to leave her off your tickets. Yeah. I've got her third, but I could have had her on top. I don't disagree with anything. Enola Gay, we'll look at her race at Kentucky Downs. It's interesting. Shug McGAUGHey had an option. He could have run this filly at a mile last week in the Chelsea Flower they brought back, or he could have run her in this race. He chose the shorter one. We'll see. I mean, it would have been easy to win last week because Christophe Clement's horse ran a big race yesterday. I don't know if she would have beaten her. And she did run well in this race. She also got a sensational trip in this race. I don't know. She's found herself in an awfully tough race. I bet you Shug looked at it and he said, wow, this race came up tough. Yeah. But she is good, though.
She might have wanted to choose he might have wanted to choose the other spot, because this is a pretty tough race.
I
there are
don't
some
know
good
that
horses
Shug,
here.
you don't know why they went. Maybe it's somebody else's, you don't want to.
And I sent in this stat. I know it's a pretty small sample, but if you look through the horses in the sample, they are all short prices. And people just see a Shug first-time starter win a race, and they say, this must be a feature stakes horse, and they don't always come back and win. And I feel like this horse is going to be a pretty short price in this race because everybody loved her debut. And I don't love the turn back to 6 furlongs for her, because she's got a pedigree that says she's going to ultimately want to go longer. I know that the second and third place finishers came back to win, but they didn't come back to win and run faster. They came back to win and ran basically the same speed figure.
Right,
so
exactly. Or even 1 point lower.
She's got to get a little bit faster to beat this field.
And she's running against a serious field.
Yep.
I don't know that you could have expected. Now, you could have looked at the non-problem, but listen, these races could have come with 5 horses. You don't know it's going to come with a big field. This race came up super tough. We'll see. Not saying she can't win. We have the same 5 horses. To me, the interesting horse is Fly So Pretty. We'll take a look at Fly So Pretty's debut. Now, we'll watch the whole race. The problem is, the trouble obviously happens behind a bush. You'll see the effects of the trouble. And keep in mind, Schering finished third in this race, and Schering came back, of course, in stretching out and won the Breeders' Cup Fillies. She's a good horse for Grand Motion, by the way. That was a very good race. She's tucked into the rail, and, these rail at 5, I'd rather get post 12 than rail. Back in here, she's already steadying, and you can see Manny Franco's just got a handful, and she's completely and totally steadying out of the race. I mean, what has she lost in position? 3 lengths of position there?
Yeah.
And it's not like she has an easy job getting off. Now he gets her the 2-path between horses. I mean, this horse really ran in here, and she got a 6-6 buyer. I don't care about debut buyers, but the early career buyers. I'm sorry, she got a 69 buyer. This is a buyer that could have been 78 if she had gotten a clean trip. And that was a long time ago. And then they decided, and I understand, they decided to try to stretch her out. You want to see if you got a Breeders' Cup, juvenile fillies. Fine, no reason not to. She beat the Breeders' Cup juvenile filly winner. But she's not a miler. She's a sprinter. And now she cuts back to the right distance, and she gets Joelle. And I don't know if she can get the right trip here, but I think this horse is pretty good.
And let's remember, when we're talking about the Beyer speed figures, the horse that she beat by a neck here, Sequin, is the same horse that Lucrezia beat in her maiden win, and maybe Fly So Pretty had 2 lengths worth of trouble coming into the far turn.
Right.
So they probably ran pretty close.
And it was also July as opposed to October,
Yep.
which is 3 months earlier. Now, I'm not saying that she's the likeliest winner by any stretch of the race, but she is the one that's going to be the biggest price of the major players, I should say.
And also, I'll point out the horse that was a close fourth in that race, Queen of Shades, is actually the horse that Miss J. McKay beat last time in that turf stakes. So I mean, these horses actually have faced common company. Maybe that flatters Miss J. McKay a little bit.
Yes.
But no, I agree about Fly So Pretty having trouble in that race. She didn't want the mile last time. She's the interesting horse at a price.
I agree. This is a fun race. A terrific card. And there's other horses we haven't met. I mean, listen, Afraid of Mama isn't terrible in here. I mean, you met Barely Seen. Barely Seen is fine. What's wrong with her? Her last race was good.
I agree.
How is Saul Cumin up onto her? Oh, he's already got Miss J. McKay. I turned on a Celtic game the other night. They were panning right as I turned it on, courtside, and there was Saul.
Everywhere.
I told him the Lakers have Nicholson, the Knicks have Spike Lee, and the Celtics are stuck with him. Race number 10. You know...
You picked my horse. I've liked this horse in like every start.
I knew. See, he has no clue, and I know when to pick them. Pick this in every start. Nice move.
Right?
Nice job.
Yeah.
Well, the horse did finish a combined 25th in its 4 starts. Where'd you go here?
I went to the speed, looking at roses, getting the blinkers on for Danny Gargan. Ran a race 2 back that would just basically crush this field. Last time out, there was obviously an incident in that race.
Was this horse interfere with in the incident?
Yes. This
Okay.
horse, I mean, you can't walk.
But he wasn't winning.
No. This horse was already down by 6 lengths before something happened.
What I'm saying is that
But he was...
He did not come... Yes, the 45 Beyer's a joke,
Yeah.
but he still would have run a 71 Beyer.
Still would have been 5th. Yeah.
Now, the winner of that race got an 87 Beyer. The winner of that race is actually back in a very tough race on
I will
Thursday.
say, though, regardless of what happened in the stretch of that race, that was a bizarre race where a couple horses ran and some others just didn't show up at all. I mean, just look at Monkey See, Monkey Do, who also just couldn't handle the turf course in that race for whatever reason. So that's a weird race I don't want to put too much stock in. Looking at Roses ran 2 well, 2 back, and he's the speed of this race.
He's the horse to beat. I'm not going to argue against that. He's the horse to beat. Well, wait a second. You don't think Loaded Joe is going to go?
Yeah, he'll go, but looking at Roses can stalk a little bit.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I got nothing against Look at Roses. Absolutely the horse to beat in this race. I cannot disagree with you. You know, Monkey See, Monkey Do is a funny horse because probably should have won last time.
Yeah, definitely should have won.
I'm sorry, definitely should have won. I was being kind. That was frustrating, I'm sure, but now he's in such a tougher spot. He draws inside, which may help him, and, you know, Sandy Lane hitting the 7 is sort of okay in here.
He also should have won last time.
See, I'm not a big Bull Gem fan because I think this horse has just sort of had easy
you don't
trips.
like this horse.
I don't.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't been exactly right. The horse has run better than I thought, but I think he's a little dressed up. As far as Palace Atenay, I want to give this horse a chance against maiden claimers.
It's the filly facing the boys.
Ooh. So it's a sexist pick by you not picking her.
Yeah.
So not only have you not picked a horse every time when she's dropping down, but you're doing it because you don't. Because the fillies have never beaten the boys. Didn't some fillies beat the boys in some turf races last week at the Breeders' Cup?
Seem to recall.
Crushed the boys, run 2 in the mile. I don't care about that stuff. I want to give her a chance. I don't love her, but I know she was an okay horse.
Maybe I should have had her higher up in this spot. She's a horse that has no turn of foot whatsoever. She's just one paced. She probably wants to go 2 miles, not a mile and a 16th. But
you don't think Louis Saez will find a way for her to be in front or something here?
We'll see. The dropping class should help.
Yeah, we'll see. I agree. She has not done a lot of running. I'm going to pick her as the alternative, but I'm with you. The 9's the one to beat. We done? You'll be back tomorrow.
So. I will.
10 more tomorrow. Anyway, head over to Naira Bets. You're not a member of Naira Bets? Become a member of Naira Bets. Some sort of deposit match. Head to NairaBets.com for more information. We'll match up to your deposit. Big A is the promo code. Big A is on a vacation. He's gone for 4 straight days. A plethora of guests next week. Ernie Munich will be making a return to the stage next Thursday.
Oh, exciting.
He said if he can find a tie, he'll be here. I'm going to bring him some ties from home. My ties may be way too highbrow for Ernie. Anyhow, this one sounds good to me. I'm going to bet $25 win in race 2 at Del Mar, and I might even bet 40. You know, and get that, you know, $25 in a free value. So get those PPs out and look at the second race at Del Mar through Naira Bets, through the app only. Anyhow, Veterans Day tomorrow, we'll be racing. 10 race card, first post 11. 10:45 for Talking Horses tomorrow. Also, one more thing, right? Handicapping challenge, right, Justin? Justin's been very silent today. He's feeling repentant. Anyhow, $500 entry fee, Aqueduct Challenge, Saturday, November 16th. That's just 6 days from today. Bet online through Naira Bets. You can't make it to Aqueduct. Come visit us at Aqueduct. Big crowds here at the Big A. Fun place to be. Anyhow, David, thanks. See you again tomorrow. Johnny I, up next, to reprise the Scratches and Changes.